Perfect. Salute, and welcome. Welcome back to the Black Ocean. Now swimming in the deep end with your host, the one and only Great Black Shark. And yes, you see what's on the screen here. We have to discuss how to create a tether. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you are in for quite a shock here tonight. You're in for quite a shock. We're going to be reviewing an interview that was done a little while ago, and it's going to show you exactly how that tether class mindset comes into creation in a way that many of you may not be expecting. But before we jump into that, I would be remiss if I did not go ahead and put this on the screen, because we're going to have to talk about this. Oh, yeah. Let me just slide this right on over here in the middle so y'all can see it. Now, some of you may know who this is. Some of you may not. This is the South African artist known as Tyla. And she has the song out called Water that she's most known for. Well, Miss Tyla took it upon herself to make some pretty disparaging remarks here about our people. See, here's the deal. She's from South Africa. And for those of you who have never been there or don't know this, in South Africa, they have a classification known as colors, okay? With the British spelling of the word, it's basically if you're biracial, okay, one of your parents is white or something else mixed in, they call themselves colored. A lot of them should really do their homework on where the boys got that term to call them from. They borrowed it from what they call us over here as an insult to them. They don't know that, but they walk around wearing that classification proudly. Now, it's up to her to identify as whatever she wants to identify as. I don't have any problem with that. You say you're not black. See, when somebody says that, for me, I believe you. I believe you. And I'm going to make sure that you remember that you're not black, meaning that you're not our people. We know you're not from our lineage, but you say you're not black altogether. Fine, I accept that. I don't get offended or upset when somebody says that. But I'm going to tell you what I do have an issue with. See, on the screen here, you're looking at one of her latest songs that she has out called Butterflies. I know you're probably asking yourself, GBS, what's the relevance of this? She's got a song out called Butterflies. So what? Well, you know, anything that I present to you over here on this channel, I have a reason for doing so. And I'm going to show you the reason that I have an issue with this particular song that she has. Because, see, you tethers are going to learn to leave my people alone. Family, what you're looking at right here on the screen, and let me know if everybody can see this okay. In fact, the business, let me know if everyone can hear me clearly. Please do let me know if everyone can hear me clearly. I want to make sure that we get any issues taken care of. If there are any, please do put a thumbs up. if you can hear me clearly and if you can see what's on the screen very clearly as well. Everything looks fine on my end, but it's what matters most is what the audience is able to see and hear. Please do give me confirmation of that in the chat, family. Can you see and hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up if it's a yes. If not, let me know. We'll get everything adjusted. Because, see, family, check this out. This is a verse 1 from her song called Butterflies that I just saw. Okay, good. Everybody can hear me okay. I'm glad to hear that. I'm finna get the cooking over here. Let's read this verse together. Okay, now I heard the song that she came out with called Water. Heard it. I was like, okay, catchy little tune. All right, yeah, no problem. Hadn't heard this one till I saw this going around, so I had to go and look it up and listen to the song for myself, and this is definitely in the song, so we're going to read it. I don't need reparations, boy. Bye. Yeah. Okay, and then she's got the second verse coming down here. Counting something, I think I got that covered up. I forgot to take that off of there. But anyway, as somebody, I'm a child of God. All it took was dedication to make me fly. Now the minute could be wasted. We on God's time. So now let's just go ahead and get straight to brass tacks. You know me, I don't sugarcoat anything or beat around the bush. If you're talking about I don't need reparations, boy, you're referring to foundational Black American men, okay? Because why else would you need to put that verse in a song? It's supposed to be about butterflies, whatever the song's about. Who cares? Let me make something clear to you in the tether class, okay? For the most part, everybody's not like your brother. For me, if you are foundational Black American woman, another African woman, or a Caribbean woman, and you're not a coon or Sambo or Sambit, hey, listen, I've dated many. But most brothers are not checking for y'all like that, especially nobody that's still confused in their head calling themselves colored. And I explained that I already know that it's a classification over there. I've been over there. I know all about that. But you don't really know the history of where the word came from. See, one of the things that people have bugging their ass about foundational Black Americans, us using that particular term to describe our lineage, it came from us. We named us. We reclassified ourselves as what we really are. Okay, foundational Black American freedmen. It's another thing altogether when you stay under the label that your oppressors and colonizers gave you. Okay, see, don't get mad at us because we had sense enough to wake up and finally label ourselves accordingly what we're supposed to be. So when you make this shot talking about I don't need reparations, you put boy on the end of it. Let me be clear, because I want to make sure everybody get the smoke that I got to give for this particular thing before we move on to the meat of tonight's broadcast. I know that your label execs told you to do that. Okay, you better be very careful of letting these people manipulate you, because I'm just going to tell you right now, as far as me, you lost all respect that you could have ever had for me as far as listening to any of your music or anything. I'm on the same type of time that the Jewish community is on. You disparage or insult my people in any way, you don't exist to me. You get no support, sympathy whatsoever from me. Y'all gonna stop this. See, let me tell you something. Most people are saying they don't know who she is, but I'm gonna make sure you know who she is here tonight with what I'm discussing, because see, you put the boy part on the end of it. Now think about it, family. For a song entitled Butterflies and you singing about relationships and whatever else you singing about, why would you need to put that in there like that? You only talking about one group of people, okay? You're not talking about Black people in the UK. You're definitely not talking about people back over there where you from. See, Tyla and all your handlers, we understand how these white executives will use you tethers to disparage us. We didn't say it. See, they said it. Keep being the flunky and playing that game. What you gonna find out when these people turn on you? Because see, over here in America, you're Black. You call yourself whatever you want to. Don't believe me. These white folks, the same ones who's ass you kissing, they're going to show you better than I can tell you or anybody. When that happens, all that not Black talk, all these taking little slick shots of this, we're not going to forget that. I know I'm not. And you're on your own, okay? You're going to be on your own. We going to, look, this stuff that y'all got going on, I'm not Black, I'm this, okay, bet, fine, no problem. Don't argue with nobody to tell you that. Just be like, okay, I believe you. I believe you, and we're going to hold you to that. So that's what I got to say on that. When I saw that, I was like, yeah, let me include this in here tonight. And see, in case you're wondering how it fits into tonight's broadcast, well, In order to become a tiller, it all starts with the mind, like many things. That's what we're going to be analyzing here tonight in a way that's going to shock most of you. But before we do that, let me greet my esteemed guests in the chat room. Let me come over here and see who all is joining us. I see Two Stay Woke in the building. Patricia Slade, welcome, good sister. I see Erica Bailey, CRU Reality, the beat maker, and the computer designer from scratch. If you need a custom computer or a beat, that's the man to holler at right there, CRU Reality. I see Patricia Jenkins in here, Stun Zed, my Lieutenant Tim Chan in the house joining us. Chief X Ali, I see Willis Martin, Mrs. L in the building. Blessed to you and your husband, sister. I see Matrice 03 over here. I see my good brother, Black Vulture and Reloaded. Brother, I got to get with you. I have an idea for something that I'm going to do, and I'm thinking about doing it on Patreon. It won't be on YouTube. I'll get with you after the broadcast, and I'll hit you in the DMs or Twitter. I see Claude Nobles in here. I see Sidonian Snow in here. Nightfall dropping the building with us again. I see Flowers over here. Okay, welcome, welcome. I see James in here. Let's see, scrolling down to Sister Devin Haley. I see Premier Holmes, Seven Skills, and Panther Strike here. Tia to you. I see you too as well. Salute to all of you that's joining us in attendance here tonight, and welcome to anybody that will be coming. We're going to get a thorough education on this tonight because, see, what I'm about to show you all is something else that needs to be considered when it comes to just saying tether. See, when we say tether, we're not talking about all Black immigrants. We're talking about the disrespectful ones that come over here, particularly undermine us, especially if you get into the political arena where you can try to have some type of effect over our daily lives. There's another component to this that a lot of people hadn't talked about or even considered. We're going to analyze that here tonight. So without further ado, we're going to get started. And like I said, if you hadn't been surprised yet all day, you're about to be now. Let's get into it.
I met a very fascinating woman, and her story was so interesting, and I'm so grateful that I got the opportunity to talk to her, because sometimes I find we meet people and we have certain expectations about how they should be and who they should be. So for example, you meet a Black person, you're going to expect them to be speaking some native tongue, or you meet a white person, you expect them to be speaking something else. Now, today's guest is a wonderful woman who also happens to be in the entertainment industry. She's a young Black female. However, she was raised pretty Afrikaans. Stay tuned. We have a sit-down discussion with Marie Molefe van Heerden and unpack her transracial adoption journey and story. Known as an actress and media personality to many South Africans, having appeared most recently in the film Hacks, she has graced the small and big screen in Koerenberg, Skoonma, Villarosa and Sevendelaan, to name a few. Born in the 1980s, she was taken in by her grandmother, Maria Mwatse, who lived in Ramakokastad in the northwest after her parents were unable to raise her themselves. She was eventually adopted by the Van Heerdens, the Afrikaans family her grandmother Maria worked for on the farm in Rustenburg. This is her story. Let's unpack. Thank you so much, Marie, for joining us.
Yes.
I have to be honest, I mean, obviously you and I worked together in television production. And initially when I saw your name, I was like, ooh, Marie van Heerden. Okay. Dis 'n mooi poplap naam. And then I met you, I was like, are you Marie? So maybe let's backtrack. Marie, where does that name come from? What's the background of Marie?
Well, it's quite a long story, but to keep it short, my grandma, my authentic, real grandma, her name is Maria.
Maria.
Yes. So when I had to choose my own name, which is another story, we decided to take the A away from Maria, and then it became Marie.
What was the reason to take the A away from Maria?
Well, my adoptive parents told me that I could choose my name. I had a different name, which I'm not going to tell anyone. And so I was like, okay, I would like to be like Tatiana or something incredible like that. And then my parents were like, let's be real, let's get you a normal name. And we just decided, like, my grandma was so special to me, and it was like her for making me adopted. So it was her, like, her decision. So we decided, okay, something special, let's give your name Maria. To Marie.
So I'm curious. I mean, let's take it back right to the beginning. You know, the viewers that are watching at home already have an idea of what we're going to talk about. But I sometimes find, like what I said, is that we have expectations. And whether your biases are negative or not, we all just naturally have some weird bias. And I think for me, because I've always been a creative, I'm quite liberal and open-minded. It wasn't anything odd. But I know I've met a lot of people be like, how do you not know your home language, kind of a thing. So maybe take us back to upbringing, where you could actually be conscious of your memories, like your earliest memory. What was that about?
Well, it was difficult because I was the only black child in my primary school, and I spoke Afrikaans. And all the other kids were like, but you're not supposed to be speaking Afrikaans, you're supposed to speak a black language. And I couldn't. At that stage, my parents both spoke Afrikaans. And it was difficult because I couldn't really fit in anywhere. I wasn't black enough, but I wasn't white enough. So it was hard.
Now, in case you think that your ears are playing tricks on you, she actually did say that she didn't feel like she was black enough and she didn't think she was white enough. Well, yeah, it's kind of obvious you were not going to be white enough even over there because, see, in case those of you don't understand how South Africa works, basically it's just reverse America. Okay, the majority population is black, but the white Boers, whose people are from the Netherlands, that's where they're from, invaders, colonizers from the Netherlands, they control all of the economy, okay? Yeah, that's why I say it's reverse America. They even have a town over there called Orania, okay, where no black African can go unless you're working there in the daytime. Yes, it's a sundown town on the continent of Africa in the country of South Africa, okay? So, that being said, when you take into the account of how they're talking about how she came to be adopted by this white family, you are about to see tonight one of the most shameful things and what goes into creating a tether. Because let's be clear, as a child, it wasn't her fault. She could not decide where she was going to go. She couldn't make that decision. She's going to get into, or they're going to get into, who did make that decision. And we're going to take a look at why they thought that that was a good idea, okay? Because as you heard her saying here, she was talking about the difficulty that she had fitting into the school that she was attending and the area that she was living. But I'm going to let them get into it, and then we're going to further analyze this because, trust me, y'all are going to really see where a lot of their mindsets come from, even if they're not in her particular situation. And see, one of the things that I tell you all to look out for, even amongst our lineage, when you hear people that are black trying to speak with the inflection of a white person, even of our lineage, you got a problem on your hands. We're not talking about speaking proper English. Anybody can speak proper English. I'm talking about that forced inflection. Now, in her case, you can argue that at the age that she was taken in, that's how she learned and heard how to pronounce those types of words and talk that way. That's understandable. But for the rest of the people that didn't have her situation, okay, what you're looking at is someone that's going out of their way to try to fit in with something that they'll never be as far as in the dominant society. But when I tell you that it's about to get interesting, oh yeah, let me go ahead and let them get back into it. We're going to further break this down. Let's let it continue. So
if we take it back then, you already speak about your primary school experience. How did you find yourself being the only black kid in an Afrikaans school? What was that upbringing like? Because obviously, biologically, you are black. You were born to black parents. What? So maybe let's start there. You were born to mom, and tell us about that journey. Mom, dad, and you being brought into this world.
So mom, dad, they were both teenagers, and then whoops, I came out. And my grandma just decided this is a toxic relationship. I was busy dying, and she had to find a way to keep me alive. So she was working for this white couple, Klasie and Toy van Heerden. And she asked them, listen, can I please raise this child while I'm working for you? And they were like, of course, yes. What can we do to help you?
So what area was that?
That was in about 1986.
So 86, and which area of South Africa was that? Because already when we think Tswana, you're thinking Mafikeng.
It was in the northwest.
Northwest, yes. All right.
So very Tswana, At that stage, my white family, they worked on a farm. They had a farm. So it was, that type of culture. And it wasn't very great to adopt a black child in that era. So
How did they get to a point where, though, they decided to adopt you? Because Granny says, okay, I've got the situation. Please, can I continue to work but raise this child? I mean, obviously, it's natural. If children are in a yard together, they're going to be playing. But when does the conversation come where we say, actually, let's make this the real deal?
Now, let me pause this and give you a bit of historical context here. You remember the year that she said that this happened. She said 1986. So now, for those of you that are aware, South Africa was still under apartheid back then. You understand? It wasn't until 1994 that situation came to an end on paper, okay? So this is why this is very significant, what you're about to hear. And see, I just got to go ahead and throw it out here before we get further into this. Those of us who are foundational Black American freedmen, we already understand that you can't trust them folks. Like my grandfathers have said on both sides of my family, if their thin, pale lips are moving, they lying, okay? Here's the thing. Most of us with sense will ask, okay, now what would make a South African Boer family, white folks, okay, during apartheid, want to adopt a little Black African girl, regardless of what the maid said that was working for you? See, y'all already know where I'm about to go with this. I'm going to touch on that a little bit later, but I'm going to let her continue talking. I'm just saying that I caught that right off the bat. I hope you all did too. But she's about to go into further explanation on what her upbringing was and how it came to be that. I want y'all to pay close attention to what she's about to say next.
Well, my parents actually, they were quite open about it. Obviously, it's not like they could hide that I was different.
Yeah.
But they decided only when I'm able to understand what adoption means, then they'll ask me if I wanted to be adopted. So I was about, how old are you when you're in standard 5? Like 13,
Yeah, 12, 13.
12, 13. So they came to me like, okay, so this is the situation. You've been living with us since you were like 2 years old. We'd like to adopt you like legally. Would you be up for that? So I was like, yes, and I want to change my name. Great. Thank you.
Tell us why. So here's what everybody will think. If you say Gran was a worker to people that were working on a farm, we're already thinking power dynamics, financial dynamics. So, share the picture for us. What does that mean? Were you still, staying in the big room with Gogo, but during the day you got to play with your future siblings, and then eventually it was like one sleepover? Like, how did that happen?
It was difficult because in the beginning, I was with Granny in the back room. Then we moved to Port Elizabeth. I think I was just pre-primary school age. And then I lived in the house, but my gran still lived in the servant quarters. So it was weird. Like, am I my grand's child or am I now these white people's child? Like, it was awkward, but we just went with it. I had a room, but my gran wasn't like a servant. She was still part of the family. She just preferred to live in the servant quarters, and I had a room upstairs.
So for me, the reason this is not odd, I mean, I've met a couple where, they adopted the domestic workers' children and they lived in the house. This thought that kept coming to my head is, what does that feel like for a child where you can't articulate, like what you say, weirdness, where it's like, why at this time Gogo must leave and life continues, which South Africans might say white life continues, privileged life continues, but Gogo's still living so-called impoverished Black life.
Not with our family, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like she's the maid and she has to stay away and she can't use our bathrooms or whatever.
Yes.
She was part of the family.
Yes.
Both of us were part of the family all the time. Her room was just downstairs.
Yes.
So it wasn't like, okay, we're going to eat now, so you need to go.
Yes.
Or you're relieved of your services. It was just like, okay, we all eat together. We all sit around the same table. And when we go to sleep, I go to my room upstairs and she goes to her room downstairs. It was just like that.
When did you have your...
Now, family, did you hear what this woman just said? Did you hear what this woman just said? See, I'm sure to her as a child, that's what she thought. But if they're treating her different and her quarters is downstairs and it's not as well as the others, What does that tell you? But see, let me go deeper with it and see. I'm going to piss a lot of tether class off. And it might be some shrapnel from those that aren't tethers, but I got to say this. In a lot of the tether classes minds that come over here today that we have such an issue with because of the disrespect, a lot of them think that they're a part of the British Crown. Now, you probably ask, well, GBS, why would you say that? Well, if you let them talk long enough and you start bringing up certain things about where they're from, they'll tell you how they're so much different from everybody else and how you were a slave. I'm like, okay, but you were too. You were colonized. It was just a different method of slavery, but you were enslaved. Look up what I'm about to tell you, because you know I've covered this on the channel before. I'm not going to even give the number this time. I'll make you all look it up. During this broadcast or after, look up today how many African nations are willingly a part of the British Commonwealth. The colonizers that colonized damn near half the world, willingly a part of it. They think they're subjects of the British Crown. They really do. So now when you take a situation like this where this sister was adopted by these Boers from childhood, listen to how she speaks during this interview, and you're going to see the type of damage that's done when this occurs, okay? Because this is where I will give props to Ethiopia at. They stopped them white folks from adopting their children because of how they was molesting them. But she's not going to mention that in this broadcast, but come on, family. We all know what they did to our people over here, what they continue to do to black children over here. So now I'm just going to say it. Like I said, she's not going to say it, but do you really think that everything was on the up and up with that? And if it wasn't, as far as how she was treated, as far as being abused or molested or whatever, I want you to listen to this interview and think that, and tell me if you think that even if it did happen, that she would come out and speak up against it and put that on blast. But I'm going to let her get back into talking because, like I said, they're going to get deep into everything that goes along with this. I know a lot of you have questions about who, what, when, where, why, and they're going to cover a great majority of them. We're going to analyze them. Let's let it continue.
First conversation, like real conversation about what you observe versus what was actually happening. Because I also find with myself that my perspective as a child was so warped. Because you're like small, the world is big. Things might seem worse off or more exciting than what they were in reality.
I think in my case, my brothers are way older than I am. So it was difficult to put myself in the family, meaning like, was I different because I'm so much younger than you, or is it I'm different because I'm black and you white? So it was weird. Like I didn't really have a great relationship with my brothers that stage because the age difference. But I think around primary school when kids started to make comments, kids can be very mean. Like they can be mean, and they made me realize like, oh, so I am different. I just thought, okay, well, these white people just adopted me and it's fine. But they made me feel like, no, you're different because you're black and your family is white.
So, I mean, obviously when you live in a bubble, it's easy to not experience till you move outside that bubble and people say this doesn't look normal, right? So up until a certain point, like you're already expressing, there was a weirdness, but it wasn't really weird. When did you have that first real conversation that was saying, listen, things are all hunky-dory-do in the house, but you must know when you go outside, X, Y, and Z is going to happen? Or did that actually never happen?
That actually never happened. I think it was a too hard a topic to explain it to me. And also I think for my parents, it was also too hard for them to understand and explain it to themselves. Like we never had like, okay, listen, so people outside of this house are going to be funny. I think also because from the get-go, I knew, like, obviously, I'm adopted, I'm different, and people are going to treat you different. But we never had a talk, like a serious talk.
So, I mean, I'm sure somebody is listening going, if you were living with your mom, how come you didn't learn your language? You know, like, we're at a point where even in certain households of white families, they'll specifically hire a Zulu-speaking nanny so that their child can pick up another language. So how would you respond to the people who say you should know your language, you should speak Setswana?
I should, but I didn't have the opportunity to. My gran, she learned Afrikaans when she started working for the Van Heerden family. So when I came along, we just spoke Afrikaans. Yes, obviously I picked up some things and she tried to teach me, but it was never like, okay, so you have to learn your language because it's important from but yeah.
Is the Molefe mom's surname, grand surname, or dad's surname?
Molefe is my dad's surname. And I decided to keep it. Just to always know like where you come from. Like I could have gone with Marie van Heerden, but I need to feel like okay, I still belong in the Molefe family.
So now let's fast forward. You are developing as a teenager. At that time, I mean, obviously a lot of people are trying to find themselves and get an understanding of who they are without even incorporating the creative side of you. You're in the school, you're the only black kid. What is like going through your maturing mind? Are you an angry kid who's frustrated because there's certain conversations you can't have, or are you just hunky-dory-do in the bubble?
I wish. No.
Yeah.
I hated everyone and I felt like the world owes me because why am I here and why am I black and why don't I have black friends or know anything about the black culture? Nothing. I mean, like my own parents couldn't even do my hair because they didn't even know how to. I always felt like the sore thumb sticking out, and it sucked. People didn't understand me, and I couldn't even understand me because like I had no one to talk to or make me understand or help me because my life was white.
The reason I'm saying it's so deep is because from the outside, do you sometimes even feel that maybe people think you have a privileged perspective? Because, when you speak, it sounds like you're almost a bit of a tortured soul, frustrated, because it doesn't matter where you run. It's almost like lose-lose. But the perspective might be, wow, missy, kind of a thing.
I got it like when I think it was in varsity. I can remember a couple of times I'll go to like a convenience store or whatever, and the lady at the till will speak to me in Zulu or Tswana or whatever. And I do understand a little bit. It's not like I'm completely, And then I would respond in English because I'm not that fluent. And then she'd be like, don't try to be fancy. You can just speak Zulu to me. And I'm like, it's not like I'm trying to be different. Just I don't know how to say that in your language.
Yes.
So from black people, I got that like she's trying to be better than us.
Yeah.
And then from like white people, it was more like, okay, but you should speak your language. You should be black. And I'm like, I can't win.
If we jump to, and we'll definitely come back to the chronological order, but if we jump to the question of identity, I'm listening to you when, like you say, if somebody tries to speak to you in Sizulu and you feel like I can't respond to you in your language, do you feel that Afrikaans is your language, if you understand what I mean?
Afrikaans is my language. I was born and raised Afrikaans. I wish it was different. I really wish I could speak a different language or more languages. I'm in my 30s now and I'm trying now to learn. It's a bit late, but I wish I did speak a different language.
So, and I'm so glad you're expressing that, because the perception is always you don't speak this because you don't want to or you don't take the interest in learning.
Can I stop you there?
Yeah.
When I was younger, I didn't want to. I was adopted, and like I was taken away from my biological parents, and I kind of hated them for just the way they treated me, or like the fact that I had to be adopted. So in my mind, I was like, I do not want to do anything about black people. I don't want to learn your language. I'm going to be white now. I'm going to speak Afrikaans, and this is me. It's just my skin that's black.
So almost like a rejection, abandonment,
yes,
anger.
Yes.
So what would be interesting to me is, and I hear where you're coming from, is if we're saying fine, I don't want anything to do with what you stand for or represent, because to me it represents abandonment, pain, and I don't know what you guys were dealing with. But you still have had Gogo with you. So how did you consolidate the fact that you're mad about this, but you're living a different life, which some might say is a better life? How do you...
So let me pause it right here, and I let that play as long as I did because I wanted it to get around about this part, and I wanted you to hear what she was saying about her experience being adopted by those boys, okay? See, over here on this channel for many years now, okay, I've always said that one of the most important jobs you'll ever have is becoming a parent as a Black person. The failure started with her parents first, because she said that they had her when they were in their teens. So it started there. And by the way, I really should have pulled that. And, you know, I might put that on the community tab. When they get to talking about baby mamas and stuff, oh, listen, there's a region over there in South Africa called the KZN region. I could spell out the whole thing, but I'm gonna put some information up about that baby mama thing, because boy, listen, y'all just don't understand. See, those of us that have been to these places and actually understand what's really going on, they don't want to have no conversation with us. But I'll get to that. Dealing with what she just spoke on right there, the failure started with her parents, and then it progressed on to her the grandmother. Okay, and I'm gonna explain why. Number one, let's just say, okay, you had her when you were in your teens. You didn't have what you needed to take care of her. Okay, all right. Grandma step in till you get yourself together, which is what you're supposed to be doing. And then you get your child back and you form a family. Nowhere in this interview is she going to say that that happened, because, see, we got to ask questions. When grandma had you and she working for them folks over there during apartheid, by the way, they don't want to forget that. Why wasn't her parents doing everything they needed to do to get themselves stable to get their child back? See, you heard the host here mention that could it have been a better life, or is that what people were thinking? Many of them really do think that, okay, if I had a life with a white person, that's a better life. Oh, now, mind you, during apartheid, to go to show you how crazy this is. And again, she can't help the decisions that were made for her as a child. But I want you to pay attention to where the mind goes as far as how she explains everything and how she thinks she identifies. Because, see, the other lesson to take from this family, for those of us that are foundational Black American freedmen, especially if you have yet to become a parent, the main takeaway that you should get from this is, even though all of us are Black, be very careful about what you allow to go into your children's minds. Why? I want you to watch where her mindset is now because of her upbringing. See, everything starts with the mind. If you can break the mind of a people or a nation, you can put anything into them that you want. You can extract what their identity is and replace it with whatever you want. You understand? Oh, we're going to get deep on this thing, but I'm going to let her get back to explaining this experience, because, like I said, if you think you shot so far, you ain't heard nothing yet. Let's let it continue.
Consolidate those two thoughts.
I think in my case, it's weird. Through my eyes, I don't see my gran as Black, and I don't see myself as Black.
What do you see yourself as?
I'm a white person. It's weird. I know I sound like...
No, and it's this is the whole purpose of the show.
Yeah.
Is that we get to see the other side of it. Automatically, when anybody says that, especially because everybody's getting all woke right now, is for me to get an understanding of, like, I know we've had a conversation where you say you live the Afrikaans culture. I mean, your man is Afrikaans. But do you see yourself as Black and white? And for you to say white, is that because of the Afrikaans upbringing, or because there's nothing Black that you can identify with?
It's difficult because I don't identify as being Black. Also, like, I was brought up white, so I couldn't learn how to be Black. So now, from the beginning, I was raised white. I never had to learn how to eat with my hands, something simple. I always thought of marrying a white man. So I can't, it's not like I can't identify with being black. It's just I never learned how to. And
Let me pause this right here. What I try to do over here on my platform is teach you how the white supremacists cherish things like this. And see, one of the most valuable weapons on a battlefield, because we're going to put this in this context because I want you to understand what you're looking at and what you're listening to. One of the most valuable tools or weapons on a battlefield is confusion, hence the title of tonight's broadcast. She's saying that she doesn't know how to identify as black. Baby, that's what you are genetically. No matter who you were raised with, you are black, okay? You are. Now, in case you're wondering why would white people like to do this or why would they go and get these children, we've already covered the issue. We know they be molesting on these kids, and she's not going to say that here, but you got to be crazy to think that none of that ever happened, even if she doesn't talk about it. I'm not even going to buy that. But the other reason that they will go and get them, and it's easier for them to do it with them over there, okay, to tell the class, because you turn them into weapons. Do you understand me? If you think I'm reaching with this, let's step away from the continent of Africa for a minute. Let's go down to Haiti. Why do you think that Dessalines, one of the first moves he made before they launched the revolution, was to figure out where everybody stood? Who do you identify with? Where's your loyalty lie? Because see, the traitors over there, those little half French, half Haitians, history speaks for itself on what happened with that. In fact, they played a very great part in why Haiti is in the state it's in today. And not just with Haiti, you can look in any group and you see the people that have an affinity for or they idolize or want to be like the oppressor class. And see, when you start looking at who you're procreating with, I know people going to do what they want to do. I'll refer you back to the speech that the ancestor and great grandmaster teacher, Dr. John Henry Clark, gave called The Role of the Bastard in World History. If you haven't heard that speech, you need to take a listen to it, and he will break down why that's a problem, okay? Because you're looking at it right here on your screen. This type of weaponized confusion is valuable. Let's get into why. Look at Barack Obama. Oh, I'm going there. We going there with roller skates on tonight, damn it. When you take someone that is black or biracial and you raise them up from youth with the values of the dominant society, they don't have an affinity with nobody else that's black. You understand me? These people look at you as an other. Do you understand where I'm going with this? Now, I'm going to throw something else in here that a lot of you probably don't understand. And I've said this for a long time. Unfortunately, I got to tell the truth about this. You hear a lot of people in these spaces talking about feminism this, feminism that. And I already know Dennis Prager and the rest of them at Prager U have already jumped on this. So I'm just going to go into detail about it here tonight. Over there in South Africa, in that country in particular, believe it or not, the women actually do have a reason to be for the concept of feminism because of the way some of the men over there, not all, but enough, but the way they act towards the women. Let me tell you something. They be slicing the women's faces because they won't talk to them, sexually assaulting them, throwing acid in their face. Oh, I'm not making this up. Oh, you look this up, what I'm telling you. I would not say it if I did not know what I was talking about. If white supremacy decided to pull from there and bring them over there from that particular reason, they would have some of the most loyal tether feminists you ever did see because they actually have a reason. Okay? See, when they get to talking about us, they need to sweep around their own front door first. And I know where all the dirty laundry is over there, especially on the continent. Okay? I'm not kicking my brothers and sisters that are over there, but if you listen to the sound of my voice, you know I'm not making nothing up that I'm saying. Okay? So now, when you raise a person like her or Barack Obama to have no connection to their people, they won't think twice about betraying our people. They are the perfect people to put in political positions, okay? Do you hear where I'm going with this? We see this over here now. Look at the whole Congressional Black Caucus. The greater majority of that, if not 60 to 70% of it, immigrants, tethers, okay? Look at the havoc that they wreak, which is why they never do anything for black people, okay? Over here in this country. got the capes on for illegal aliens, all right? Because they don't look at us as any type of kinship. So now, in her case, she's in South Africa. Can you imagine what would happen if they got a bunch of them kids over there that these folks have given to the white people because you want them to have a better life? They raise them and send them back over here amongst us? Or I got to go here with it. But you know, I'm always reaching on this channel. Just wait, though. Don't believe me? I'm going to let her tell you. Let's let her continue.
I never had the opportunity to learn from black people. So I'm white.
I'm going to come back to this because I think there's maybe layers we haven't delved into of you feeling like you're white and also you feeling like Gran is not black. I'm going to come back to that, but I really want us to talk. We've got dad and brother here. Now, to remind all of you, when Marie speaks of mom, dad, when she speaks of my brothers, you actually are speaking of your adoptive family.
Yes.
Right? So we're going to be joined via video call with dad and brother of Pa and Booty.
Yeah, well,
what do you refer to them as?
Because I wasn't adopted from the get-go, they taught me to say Umklasi, Tani Toy. So it was women Tani, and that's how I learned. So I've never called them like mom and dad.
Yes, I got you. But when you speak about them to other people,
they're my dad,
you say
and my
mom and dad.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us.
It is a great pleasure for me to join you.
Now, so that I bring you up to speed on this, to make sure that everybody understands exactly what you're looking at. This interview was done quite some time ago. This is the man that adopted her, and he has passed. Okay, he's no longer here. He's dead now. So I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. But I want you to listen to this interaction that he's about to have with the host and everything they're about to get into, and see, for you tethers, there's a lot of you that have not been adopted by white people, but you still have the same mindset that we're hearing her display here. Okay. And see, I have to do this to educate my people on what's coming over here when they do allow them to come. Because look, let's be clear, they coon screen all of them that come from the continent. Okay. And Caribbean, they got a coon screen. A few may slip through here or there, but for the most part, we see how that worked out for us. In the beginning, we had the riders coming over here, the Kwame Therese, the Marcus Garveys, et cetera, et cetera. But as time went on, that has come to an end. So when people start trying to evoke just a couple of those names that I mentioned, I always bring it back to, okay, you're going to bring up Marcus Garvey. You're going to bring up Kwame Ture and all the rest. Are you living up to what those brothers and some sisters that came over here were living up to back then? Because, see, they weren't on this tether class nonsense, okay? They really did want us to be unified and to come over here and show respect to the brothers and sisters that sacrificed in our lineage for them to get here, okay? That they wanted to actually build. I always put it back in the tether's face. What happened? How far have you fallen from that? Because now when you look up, they're trying to side with the white supremacists, okay? So, you know, I thought this would be a very interesting thing to bring to my audience over here tonight, because I want you to listen to what he's saying. Now, keep in mind, for those that are just joining us, she was adopted during apartheid in South Africa before it ended, all right? I'm going to let her father speak here, and I want y'all to pay close attention to this interaction.
Always a great pleasure to join anything that my children are involved in and to help them and just to be with them.
So I'm going to jump straight into the big question, which would say, you know, do you see, is Marie, interestingly, Marie, is she your daughter for you? Do you see her as your child?
She's fully, totally my daughter. I don't speak of her, I don't think of her in any other way than my daughter. There's no other way. There's no other way I can describe her. Or in my mind try to describe her.
Can you maybe share with us the experience of Maria Molefe, Gran, what was Gran's surname? Moatse. So Maria Moatse is working for you, and she now is bringing this child to say, I need to help raise her. Can you talk us through that experience?
Yes, I will never forget it. I don't know whether Marie informed you that that my first wife died of cancer. It's about 14, 15 years ago. And when Osituna, we used to say Osituna, Maria Osituna. We call her Osituna. And because we all call each other Tannie or all the children on the farm and everybody, we talk about Plasi, and I speak of Tannie Elsa, and that's all. That's how the children. That's how we were brought up, our children. And when Maria came with Marie the first time, this little baby, she was not even a year old. I think she was just about a year old. And she had terrible malnutrition. And I will never forget it that my wife asked Maria, Oma Maria, she said, Maria, what are we going to do with this child? And Maria looked at us and she said, Tannie Toy, liewe Jesus het vir ons hierdie kindjie gebring. Jesus gave us this little child. And, I was thinking of it driving back this afternoon. If anybody asks me that question, it's all about being obedient. We had to be obedient. You can ask me about obedience just now. And we took Marie in. Immediately, she was part of the family. We were still a whole family that time. All five, the sons were still in the house. And immediately she was taken up because we were not brought up in a way of disliking people and not liking people.
I'm so glad that he said that, because family, again, remember that the year that she said that she was adopted, 1986, during apartheid. Not gonna stop saying that. You honestly believe, and he's deceased now, but at his age, that, they were just the one group of white folks over there that just didn't feel the way the rest of the white supremacists in control of the country of South Africa felt at the time. Really? Y'all know where I'm going. You believe that I got a bridge in Brooklyn and one in San Francisco I can sell you at a pretty good rate if you believe that. But see, let's go with that. Let's go with that. Let's just say he was. Let's play devil's advocate here for a second. Let's just say they were the one white family. They got along with everybody. They didn't dislike anybody, like he's saying. And I've been present during this interview. I would have asked him a question. I was like, okay, well, you adopted this little black South African girl here during apartheid. What were your thoughts on apartheid and the president that was in control of the country back then? What did you think about that? What have you and your family done to try to bring an end to that? Oh, yeah, CT, boy. This interview right here, I wish I would have been present to ask him some questions, and I would have been courteous. I would have just brought up some facts about the time that they were living in and what motivated you to do this at the time. Huh? See, I got to call this out and go back to her parents here, okay, and the grandparents. You mean to tell me you didn't have any other family members that were doing well that you could have had to help you raise the child or take her in? And let's just say you didn't. Why does better life always mean white? You mean to tell me there were no other black people that you could have had to adopt her? Because let's be clear. There are some black people over there that's doing well, and were at that time. Now, they was going through hell because it was just like Jim Crow over there. Basically, that's what apartheid was on steroids over there. But she could have gotten other black people to help her out. Why would just, okay, let me give her to these white people that I'm working for? You see what I'm saying? The way they idolize their colonizers, their oppressors, that's something, man, that we didn't have a choice in over here with our history. And we still give this system and these people hell over here. Okay, that was forced upon us. They were in situations where they're the majority. And someone asked this question in the chat earlier. I'm going to take the time to answer it now, and it's going to make perfect sense the way I break it down. A lot of people ask, okay, well, they're the majority. Why don't they fight back? Why don't they take over things? That sounds good on paper. But as everybody knows, if you're going to conduct any type of warfare or conflict, you must have resources. They don't have control of the economy. What kind of fighting you going to do if you don't have control of the economy? Now, I'm not saying that means they just lay down and take it, because you can do something with superior numbers, but you're going to have to eventually get control of that economy to sustain any ground that you gain. There's your answer right there. And see, the reason why they look foolish, particularly from over there trying to talk to us about anything, if you hadn't got home taken care of, what are you doing talking to us? Now, it's one thing if you over there trying to make things the way it should be so that you don't have to leave. But if you come over here and you know you're not going back, which is not her situation, she's still in South Africa. But for those that it applies to, if you come over here and you know you're not going back to your homeland, you need to be humble. We are the only group of people on the planet besides the North Sentinelese that did not flee the land that we are indigenous to as a people. White people, look, the white folks over here, where they come from? Britain. Huh? Every other group that come over here, even the Mongoloid Native Americans, they weren't originally here on this land before us. I've covered this extensively on my Patreon and many times on this channel, okay? And many others in New Black Media have covered that. The Asians can't claim they're indigenous to this land. The Hispanics, a lot of people like, well, California used to be Mexico. Uh-huh. Who was here before them? Huh? Boy, y'all don't hear me. You know, no Irish people can claim they was here before us. Don't get me started. Jewish people, Jewish community, you better not claim you was here before us. Where did you have to flee from? Huh? Arabs, East Indians, no other group was indigenous to this land before us. We were here on it before anyone else, okay? Now, let me be clear. I am not somebody that denies the transatlantic slave trade happened. I would never do that. That would be incompetent and asinine, because I understand history and I understand that a small percentage of our people were brought over here from the continent of Africa. The greater majority were taken to South America. Here's the thing with that, though. Over time, and y'all heard us say this term many times, we had an ethnogenesis. For that small percentage that was mixed in with those of us that were indigenous to this land, we became a different ethnic group, which we now today call foundational Black American freedmen, okay? That's the complete history, all right? But see, the rest of you Johnny-come-latelys, you have no right to criticize us on anything or try to tell us about nothing. Because, I mean, I've said it before. That's almost like a tower boy sitting on a bench trying to tell a championship NBA team how to win a championship game, huh? Nah. So I just had to get that part out of the way. But we're going to get back to this interview. I want y'all to listen to how he talks about how he raised her and how the family dynamic was over there and everything, because it's going to be a lot to take from this. Let it continue.
Children were brought up on the farm. We all lived together. We all worked together. And they all played together. So there was no race discrimination among us. And it was immediately being taken up into the household. I could see it with my sons, and our hearts were being changed as Marie grew into the family. Our heart, we had to have our hearts changed. It was a big change. It was a very difficult time in that time.
Notice he said we had to have our hearts changed. What did your hearts have to be changed from at the time? Now, I know the answer to the question, but I wish he would have said it in this interview. Why would your heart need to be changed if you wasn't a people that didn't hate anybody or didn't look different towards anybody? You know, see, I listen to everything. I was trained to do that from a very early age. But, you know, I just want to point that out. Let's continue.
Living on the farm, living in the farming community, living in a difficult time, and it was a test we were being put through. It was a test. And we said, no, we're going to take this test. We're going to go through this test. We're not going to give it up. The Lord gave us this little child to bring her up, to give her schooling, to help her. And yes, it's just, I said to somebody this morning, I said, the love that we have received from Marie and everything that we have just received, we had ever had any problems. We just had love. We just had blessings all the time. I was thinking of it. We had some difficult times, racist problems.
And I'm so.
Now, this is the part that I want everybody to focus on. He said we had some racist problems. I want you to see what he's about to try to do when he uses that word, because we already know where this is going over here. When I tell you that the system of white supremacy is the same no matter where you go on this planet, this is going to prove that statement to be true, because I've said it, many others have said it. I want y'all to listen to what he's about to say here.
I'm so glad you're jumping to the issue of race, because I'm thinking to myself, if it was 1986, 1987, that's pre-democracy, and maybe on the farms, you might have been a little bit isolated from what South Africa was going through, so it was easy to be switched off. But when you made the decision, like you shared, that she was a gift from God and you were going to follow through and be obedient, was there ever a thought in your mind which thought, are we making a mistake? Are we compromising her future in any way? Was that ever a thought? And did you ever think that you would be having her forever? Or did you think we're just going to help for a while until, mom and dad get themselves together?
Yeah. You know what? A lot of people came to us. Family came to us and they said, are you guys sure what you're doing? Or are you definitely sure? And deep within us, we had this assurance. We didn't know that time what lies in the future. It's like being in the COVID now. We haven't been in that situation. No people around us have been in that situation. We didn't have any help. We didn't have any guidelines. What do you do in this situation? And we had to write the book. There wasn't a book. We were writing our own book. We were writing our own story. And yes, I do think that sometimes the thought would come up, okay, is Marie going to lose something? I think the biggest mistake we made is, we moved down to Port Elizabeth. And when she had to start going to school, we didn't know Xhosa. We couldn't speak Xhosa. Maria's grandma couldn't speak Xhosa. The friends Marie's grandma made friends with were all Afrikaans-speaking people. And I think the biggest mistake we ever made was that Marie didn't learn. I know she can hear Tswana, but she never learned to speak Tswana. I think that is the one biggest mistake we made. Maybe some other mistakes, I don't know, that Marie can talk about.
But right quick, because see, did you hear what he was saying about racism earlier and the area that they moved to? For those that are not familiar with South Africa, that was a black area. Basically, what he was trying to say is the racism came from the black people. You hear what I'm saying? Huh? They always have to flip it around. You're the real racist. See, this is something else, too, that confuses a lot of the class, because as the elder and grandmaster teacher Neely Fuller Jr. tells us, you don't understand racism and white supremacy, everything else will confuse you. You even have some silly Negroes over here amongst our lineage that think we have the power anywhere on this planet to be racist. Now, you would think in South Africa where they had the numbers they could be, but who was running the country at the time? They had the numbers, but they were not in control of the nation. Therefore, how could you be racist toward them? See, they tried to take racism and whittle it down to just name calling. No, racism is systematic. This is why I get on anybody in our lineage out here saying that silliness. You don't control any system with which to oppress any group of people on the planet because of the color of their skin. You do not. Nowhere on the planet do black people have that power and that ability, okay? Even on the continent of Africa. Think I'm wrong about that? Who you think control their puppet leaders, huh? See, they have it bad over there because colonization really did a number on them, on our brothers and sisters over there. They have it bad because the leaders, the puppets put in place look like them, but they don't look behind and see, okay, who's controlling the puppet? Where's the money coming from that controls the puppet? You see what I'm saying? So what they'll tend to do is say, oh, we can't do anything right. We can't run countries, this or that. The coon class over there, okay? The coon class. Not saying all. I'm talking about the tiller class and the coon class. See, here's another thing about that, too. A lot of the tillers that come over here, if you talk to some of the brothers and sisters where they're from, they'll be like, yeah, that was coons over here. They wasn't no good. You know what I'm saying? That's the truth. A lot of y'all don't understand that because many of you have not been to any African nation, but that is the gospel truth. Maybe one day some of you will visit and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. But here's the thing. When they see their own messing up things, misappropriating funds, all the corruption that goes on, because we already know they always talk about the government. They don't understand that, okay, there's someone that put them in power. That's who you really need to get. Deal with the puppet, but make sure you get the puppet master too. Because if you don't, they'll just put another one in place. Okay? See, it's really a paradise for them because I'm going to tell you why all the white people love to run over there. When you're dealing with a population of people, the majority of which are very confused about the damage that you're doing over there behind the scenes, and then when you show up, they think, oh, a white person, this is something good. Something good is going to happen. Let me try to befriend this person. Okay, yeah, you be like, yeah, I can take advantage of these people very easily. They're very confused. See, you can't do anything in life with confusion. Okay, you can't. Not anything that's going to benefit you. Now, it will benefit the people coming to take advantage of you. So here's the situation that we have over there today with what you're seeing, okay? And now, in regards to this situation here with him talking, he's going to get further into the experiences that they had while they had her adopted and trying to have her in school because, see, basically he didn't want to see it. He just didn't want to move down there where the niggers was. Now, I wonder what made him just up and decide to do that. Because you heard the host talking about the farm, you were isolated. No, you wouldn't. You were still in the country of South Africa under apartheid. Being on a farm does not isolate you from all the issues and problems in that country at that time. But I'm going to let him get into that because, like I said, he's going to do most of the talking and he's going to tell on himself. Let's let it continue.
This is if you're adopting a child of a different race, obviously now we have access to more information, so the conversations are easier. Yes. And I think I understand what you're sharing a bit better. I would love to find out from you. I mean, before you joined us, I was asking Marie about how she identifies, and I'm curious to find out from you, how do you think Marie identifies in terms of her race?
Yes, I know at school, people of our own race, let's say of our own skin color, they gave her bigger problems than any other people. And, they called her a whitey. And they said, yes, you're a whitey, you were the white people. And I know she went through difficult times. I know when me and my first wife worked in Spain, in London, wherever we were, I know she had big problems with relationships because you must know the environment she grew up was in a white environment.
I want to pause you right there because I don't want to lose any of the good stuff, especially to do with the relationship. So I want to take a moment to see, let's jump and bring your brother on, right? But before we jump and bring your brother on, is there anything surprising that Dad has said that you didn't know?
Not really, but I would like him to answer, because he didn't really answer your question about how do you think I see myself? Do you think I see myself as a white person or a black person?
I think sometimes, many times, I can see Marie. Let me put it this way. I see Marie more. I see her when I see Marie. We are in a white environment. Can I call it that way?
But you see, she's sitting right now with a fellow black sister. Because I see black sister. Do you think when she's sitting with me, she identifies as black, or do you think she identifies as white because of her upbringing? It doesn't matter whether it's a wrong or a right thing. I'm just curious of how you think she sees herself.
I think she's got a more she more leans over to seeing herself as white.
And that's fair.
That's what I experience. That's what I see. This is what I see coming out of her. Not being ugly, but sometimes I think Marie is, let me put it this way, that she is a white person in a black skin. Can I put it that way? That's sometimes how I see it. Not being ugly or anything against any race. I don't think Marie has any race problems.
So I would like to find...
I'm so glad he finally got to the part where he said he sees her as seeing herself as a white person in black skin. Now, like I told you, go and look up how many African nations to this day are willingly a part of the British Commonwealth, the nation that colonized them, and then bring it forward to this and ask yourself, because the images are still out there. I covered it on this very channel. We talked earlier about how some of them think that they're subjects of the British royal crown. Now, what happened when Queen, the demon, may she rest in peace forever, Elizabeth, passed on? What happened, family? Who were some of the biggest people mourning for this degenerate demon that was responsible for so much devastation and colonization on the continent? Who were some of the main people crying? Y'all probably remember that broadcast I did where I put that on Front Street. Yeah. Oh, it goes further beyond that. I remember seeing some Asian people. Look, let's go here. Let's talk about Britain for a minute. In 1994, on paper, apartheid ended in South Africa. Something else happened in 1994 you may as well call it a part of China, even though they don't consider themselves that. But in Hong Kong, that was colonized by the British, and they got their independence from British colonization on paper in 1994. Do you know I saw people from Hong Kong mourning the damn Queen? So I'm just showing you how, and yes, we can't leave out the Caribbeans. We saw y'all down there too in Jamaica. Oh, the Queen, the Queen. I'm like, talk about Stockholm Syndrome. When you look at those of us over here, with the exception of tethers that came from other places, y'all know I went in. I didn't see any of us mourning no damn Queen. Now, unless you count the sellout celebrity class that tries to just go along to get along. See, that's why I could never fit in with them. They just go along to get along because that's what everybody else saying. Oh, she passed. I'm like, no. Just because you died doesn't make you a good person. What were you presiding over in your family? All the wealth that they have over there, it came from the continent of Africa. Okay? I'm not mourning any damn devils. I don't care what lineage you're a part of, what race you're a part of. I'm going to call you what you are. And your actions are going to back me up on that. Okay? Y'all go check out those broadcasts that I did covering all that nonsense on here. But I just wanted to point that part out. So it's important for us to never forget that these tethers They identify just like her father said. They actually think that they're white people trapped in a black skin. Okay, now her situation is unique, but I posit to you this. There are many Tellers that didn't have a situation that think the same way that her father just described. Let's get back to it.
From you then, and I think I can understand why you're struggling to answer it, because it can almost feel like it's an offensive thing to say to somebody, you think you're white, but you feel trapped in a black body, right? But I would like to know from you, how would you like for her to identify? I mean, you know who she is, you love her, but you also acknowledge, like what you say, that you do wish that she would have, for example, had access to learning Setswana. So how do you wish she did identify while still being your happy daughter that you would like her to be?
Lebo, I work internationally, and I work with many, many different cultures.
Salute to the good brother, 400 for the cash out. Thank you very much, my brother.
All over the world. And to me, I think the most thing that we missed in our lives is that we didn't learn each other's cultures. I don't want to go down that way, but I can see Marie as she is, being brought up in a white culture, in a white house, with her grandma being a Tswana. I can see her that she's adaptable. She adapts into any culture she can adapt in. And that's what I see in her. I think what comes forth out of her, what she does in the way she can adapt, is the way we've been living in long before.
So let me ask you the harder question. The harder question would be, if tomorrow, because I've dated white men and I've had a very
Oh, you think we couldn't tell with that bad wig sitting on your head? The family, did that shock anybody when she said, I've dated white men? Oh my God. Oh, I would have never thought that. But listen, anyway, let's get back to it.
Multicultural upbringing. And in my multicultural upbringing, I still acknowledge that I'm in an interracial relationship, and I still can be pro-black as a black woman, right?
Yeah.
While choosing, but I think it's a different thing if a person says, I identify with white and I'm dating a white guy, maybe because that's what you know, which for you are dating your own kind. So in almost like if you dated a black man, that for you would be an interracial relationship.
Yes.
Did you hear the level of confusion that just came out? This big, hefty heifer swaddled in this purplish fabric with that bad wig smile. Did y'all hear that nonsense? She just told her, because of her upbringing, I'm trying not to laugh because it's sad. She just told her, because of her upbringing, that she thinks she's white, that would be like being in an interracial relationship. Now, I imagine that since it's such an awkward thing, being that she was raised with them, I see what she was trying to say. But at the end of the day, you're not white. You never will be. They showed them over there before apartheid ended, and they're showing them now after it's ended on paper, okay? And you damn sure gonna learn your lesson over here, Tyla. Oh yeah, just wait, it's coming. It's coming. And when it does come, I'm gonna say it again for Tyla and all the rest. Remember, you're not black now, but I just want y'all to hear the level of delusion over here. See, and let me say something else to the class here before we let this continue. It is tragic what we're witnessing here on the screen here tonight, okay? Again, I've acknowledged that she couldn't make any decisions about where she was going as far as being adopted. But see, this confusion that y'all got going on, we're not going to let you bring that amongst us. I hate that it's going on, but we're not confused about who we are as a people in relation to the system of global white supremacy. That right there, you're going to have to keep that in your circles. You're not going to come over here and drag that over here into our spaces, okay? Nope, you keep that over there, all right? That's the way we're going to have to keep that, because you can't get nothing done with this. Family, do you understand that right now with the movement that we have going on over here to make sure that we can secure and empower ourselves as a people, do you know how they would love to sprinkle that kind of confusion in amongst us and have us turn around in circles with that? See, we should have nipped this crap in the bud a long time ago regarding that, dealing with the class over here. But I'm just showing you what they would love to mass produce and plant among us, okay? And see, people like Dennis Prager or PragerU, if you don't know what PragerU is, you slipping. A Tether Manufacturing, so-called Prager University, that's what his objective is, okay? I've covered them many times on this channel as well. That's the end goal. Get as much confusion amidst us as possible, and then we're trying to get something done. Jump up and you got one of them nobody ever seen before. Be like, where you come from? Don't nobody know you. Yeah, I'm black and we don't need no reparations. Yeah, okay. You done that long enough. That door is closed now. We shutting that down. It should have been shut down a long time ago. But you're going to get a thorough education on exactly what goes into manufacturing the mindset of a tether, why it's such a detrimental thing, no matter what the circumstances are, okay? As tragic as it may be, I hate that happened to you. I hate that that's your situation because your parents and your grandparents are responsible for that. But you're not going to bring that over here to undermine our people. Let's let it continue.
Yes, definitely.
Have you ever dated a black man?
No.
Would you ever date a black man?
No.
Why not?
It's not, I don't think it's the skin color or the black, it's just the culture.
So what if you met a guy who had a similar upbringing to you? Very similar story. Grew up in the farms, was raised in an Afrikaans household, doesn't know his home language, or maybe does, but is quite, rich in Afrikaans culture.
I think it would be weird for me.
Why? This is the part I'm trying to understand is does the black still represent your parents either not being good enough to parent you or you feeling like you were not good enough for them to choose you?
I think, I think it's leaning more towards me not wanting to identify with being black. So now dating a black person goes against that feeling. Not that I'm racist, obviously. I'm not racist. It's just I was brought up being white.
We know, you little gerbil-mouthed heifer, you don't have no power to be racist, no matter what you think you are. Oh, family, see, I told you, y'all probably thought I was reaching about how confused they are. Oh, it gets deeper and deeper. Because if you in shock so far with what we reviewed here tonight, just wait till you hear what's coming out little gerbil-mouths next here. You can't make this up.
And in my head, I'm white, so I'm going to date a white person or like a culture close to me, to mine. I don't know.
Does your boyfriend refer to you as a black woman, or because you identify as white, it just is somewhere up in the air?
I think it's somewhere up in the air.
So he's never said, yeah, my girlfriend's black. Like,
I think it's somewhere up in the air. I think it's somewhere up in the air. See, man, family, come on, man. Dude, I got to see it. Can you imagine what these white supremacists would do if she came over here with that mindset? See, they'll play that little game with you over there. The one reason why we are the way we over here, they didn't play any sugarcoating games with us over here. They're like, okay, hey, Negro, what's your name, boy? Oh, my name is Timothy. Okay, Timothy, that's your name? Well, I'm lighter than the other Negroes. Yeah, okay, I'm not like them. Well, today you're going to be now. Get on over there with the rest of them black folks. See, that's how they was with us. Can you imagine she coming over here, man, with that type of mindset? Oh, see, they think we be playing when we tell them that they will show you better than we can tell you. All I got to say is she better stay over there in South Africa because you'll get that rude awakening very quick. And see, I'm going to tell you something else. This is my conjecture, but the reason why a lot of the tether class, when they come over here, you look up there, they're in the oddest places where none of us are really at. Okay, you over there in the Midwest, you in places like Maine and just places where most black people are not at. I'm going to tell you something that I believe. I think they understand what the business is if they were to move to these southern states because they know real quick you'll get that wake-up call. Let me tell you something. These old school redneck white supremacists down here, they going to let you know what time it is. If you confused about anything, you won't be by the time we get finished with your black ass down here. I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to make sure you understand. They'll be like, oh, all that you had going on over there in that South Africa, we don't run it like that down here, boy. You know where you at, little darky? I'm just telling you. That's how they get down over here. So I honestly think they try to avoid coming to the South because they know, look, it's alive and well down here. But anyway, I'm going to let them get back to it. Let's let it continue.
If he's like, my girlfriend's on the way, Marie. Yo, Marie van Heerden. He doesn't like give people a heads up. By the way, she's black, guys. It's just like everyone sees you and they're like, oh, and keep quiet.
No, well, in the beginning, it was like, okay, so I'm dating a black girl.
Yes.
But now we don't even talk about it, or he doesn't mention it, because I don't think he, just like me, like sees me as a black person.
Yo, I've got so many questions. Hey? So let's do this, Pa. We're gonna come back to you in a moment. I want us to talk to your brother.
I just want to come back to that one what Marie said now. I've been watching them, and there is nothing from George's side. There is nothing like that. There's absolutely nothing like that what Marie said. Nothing. And I can vouch for it, because me as a father that brought up. We've been thinking of this. Whether she met a Greek guy, or whether she met a Nigerian guy, or whether she met a Thai guy, or whatever, the person that was to be sent to her to meet up with her, I don't think it has anything to do with color. I think if the right Thai guy or the right Nigerian or whoever came along the way that she had to meet with, they would have met up. Then there was no color thing, nothing. Not as it is now, there is no color thing.
I think
that's how I see it.
The color thing comes more from my side.
I actually was just thinking that. I was thinking to myself, when people are watching this, it's almost going to feel like, actually, while the perception might be, something's up with this Afrikaans family, the question might be, are you still battling some internal things, which we will get to. For now, Paul, we're going to come back to you. I want us to talk to your brother. You may...
Now, family, how many times have we seen this pattern where those of them that either went to predominantly white areas or moved in them or schools or whatever the case may be, or in this particular case where she was adopted by a white family, a South African family, okay? They always try to make out like, oh, the white people just accepted me, or there was no problem. You listen, I've been over there. I know what they call you over there, okay? Kafirs and all these other types of names that they have for you over there. Shout out Mahatma Gandhi's little racist ass. They got all kinds of names from the people. You gonna tell me during apartheid South Africa, no white people ever said anything bad to you? Stop it. Stop the cap, man. Cut it out. Really? And see, they'll always flip it. What I noticed about the other class, they'll always flip it and say, it was the black people that treated me bad. See, when you come over here, let me deal with that too, as far as over here on our soil. A lot of times when they come over here and they say, oh, the black people mistreated me, they have these little intercultural beefs amongst themselves. Jamaicans will end up picking on them, or Haitians will end up picking on them. We don't really trip off you like that unless you do or say something to us, we'll get it to check you. What they often talk about with us is when it comes to roasting, okay? Because we see how they get their little feelings hurt in these different little spaces or in these different little platforms when they come on here. They start trying to roast and be like, listen, you don't want to do that. You know how sensitive you are, okay? They still harbor certain things that we said in childhood to this day. Things that we said to each other, okay? All kinds of things, okay? We all know the main one. But see, the thing that I always find, and see, I'm always looking to connect the dots and thread needles. Anytime any of them have an experience where they're around a majority bunch of white people, the white people just always treated them like gold and, oh, it was you black people. See, they think that denying telling the truth about what they experience, as far as like any type of anti-black racism amongst white people, they think, okay, this is gonna get me in. I'm gonna show Master and them that I can be a good little train pit. That's what they think is gonna happen, but it never works out that way, especially not over here. Now, see, in other countries, they'll play that little game with you and see. Let me go ahead and pull some pull the rug out from under why a lot of white dudes over there date the African women. Oh, they're gonna hate me for this broadcast. They're gonna hate me because they know I'm not lying about what I'm saying. The reason they'll do that, they'll put up dealing with them so that they can work their way into their families that do own something of value. Oh, y'all know I'm telling the truth. If you from over there, you know what I'm talking about. They'll work their way into them families that got something of value, and then they'll swindle it all out from under them. That's the whole reason. Think I'm lying? What you think the Chinese men are doing over there right now? Y'all don't hear me. Anyway, we're going to let it continue. You
mentioned earlier that you've got 5 brothers.
I used to have 5.
Used to have 5?
Yeah.
Why used to?
My oldest brother died in a motorbike accident.
Okay.
I was 2 or 3 years old, so I didn't really know him, but yeah.
And what was the age difference between you and the 4 brothers?
My youngest, I'm now 34, and the closest one to me is 45.
So it's an 11-year difference.
Yeah. Like we never actually grew up together. They were way older than me.
So who are we going to be talking to?
Well,
Quibus,
this one. This one died. So
yes.
the oldest one now.
Oldest one. Yes. All right. But we're coming back to you. Don't worry. We're coming back to you. We're going to talk to Quibus. Okay, so Quibus van Heerden is also joining us via video con. He's at his own place. And I think it'll be interesting to also get that perspective. But is there something that Boss said that might have surprised you?
Not surprised, but more like heartfelt. So I'm glad that I could have brought anyone home.
Yeah.
Like he said, I could have brought a Nigerian home or whatever, and he would have been fine with it. But I also think, like, not to speak for him, but in their minds, I think they'll be fine. It would have been better for me to bring a white guy home.
Okay. So we're going to be joined by older brother Quibus van Heerden, who joins us via videocon. Hi, Quibus, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
So you are...
Sorry about that.
The hat, no problem.
I'm saying sorry about that because I'm just hiding my hair, you know. Nobody's had a haircut since 52 days.
So maybe talk to us about your experience. You are the second oldest brother to Marie.
Yeah.
You by the time then that you came into the family, you were a teenager.
When she came in, I was first year university.
Oh, wow. So you are now approaching early adulthood. What are your earliest memories of Marie joining the family and being a part of the family?
I can just remember when Gran brought her to us and she put her in the kitchen. She was this tiny little thing, very thin. You could take the inside of a toilet roll and it could fit a whole leg through the inside of a toilet roll. That's how thin she was. Very, So we fell in love with her.
And
we just cared for her,
Marie mentioned earlier that obviously when she was growing up, because of the big age gap, it wasn't necessarily love and get along at first sight. What was the experience for you?
I don't know how she had it because for us, she was just this tiny little thing. We were 5 brothers. We never had a sister in our life. And yes, suddenly we had this little.
Now, let me pause right here to point out something that I don't know if all of you probably caught. Instead of saying she's this tiny little baby, notice they keep referring to her as a tiny little thing. A tiny little thing. I don't know about most of you gathered over here in the audience tonight, but when I look at any babies, I don't think in terms of an object and refer to them as a thing. I just wondered if anybody else caught that except for me. But hey, I'm going to let a brother continue. He's got a lot to say.
And she was fantastic. We played with her. It's all I remember. She was just joy in our house since she got there. She brought, because, I don't know, my dad didn't mention it, because just soon after she came, my oldest brother died in a car accident. And then, it was a very emotional time in our lives. And she was, things changed And yeah, we loved her very much. Still do.
So how do you feel about the fact that, Marie's coming into almost like that 7-year cycle, you're approaching 35, and the older we get, we're trying to find ourselves. How do you feel about, how she identifies as an individual, or is it not even a thought that crosses your mind?
No, it does. I mean, since she was small, I used to talk to her a lot about it, because I knew that this would come up one day. I used to encourage her she needs to go visit her parents. She needs to go see her grandparents' parents, because they're still alive in the farm. I always encourage her to go there, because I always said to her, you need to know who you are. You, because you are part of our family, you will always be, but you are also part of a different family. And you need to know who you are for your own good.
So would it surprise you to know that Marie identifies more as a white person than she does even a black person, and would probably not likely date a black person that at all, whether they had the same upbringing as her or not?
I don't know. I don't think that is a true reflection. I think she's been she identifies white people because she grew up with them. It's not that, and I don't think in her life so far she had the opportunity to spend as much time with people of different color, perhaps, because of the way she was brought up and in the groups that she mixed since she came from school. It's just, I guess, it's just who you are when the people you hang around with, and it's not by choice. It's by the way she lived and who she became. It becomes difficult. That's why even when she went to visit her family, always where she came from, it was difficult for her when she goes there, because here she spent 90% of the time with us, and then she goes there for a little bit. She could never really identify with them, which is just a natural occurrence of the way that life happened and her time was spent with us. Which I don't think it's a race thing. It's just time.
So how would you then respond to the person who would say, there's lots of children around the world that get adopted, and when you get to a certain age, you can make decisions, for example, about the circles you are in, about the people you have in your life. How would you respond to those people who would say, actually, no, she should be doing this? Or maybe, you might walk out and say, I just want to be myself. I don't feel like.
Now, let me pause it right there, because I'm going to give an answer to that question. Because, see, I'm glad that the interviewer here said what she just said. You don't have control over what happens to you as a child, but by the time you reach adulthood, you can make your own decisions. And I will tell you what she said, because we've heard her say it several times here in this interview. She identifies as white in her voice, in her inflection. And she actually believes that, hey, listen, I've transcended you Negroes over there and on my side of the family. That's what she was thinking. That's why she didn't want anything to do with her biological family. But I'm going to tell you right now, even over there on the continent, those situations, they never end well. They never end well, because those of you that don't know, by now, she's married to a zaddy over there. But I guarantee you that their situation is nothing like all the flowers and roses that they make it out to be. Because, see, what happens oftentimes with the tether class that get themselves in these situations, especially interracial relationships, when it goes bad, you don't hear anything. When everything's going good in the beginning, oh, I've got a white man, a white woman. Oh, boy, let everybody know. But when it go bad, they hide that because they're ashamed. Because when they finally come to a realization, okay, these people were just using me and I was just a fetish, they can't deal with that. That breaks their entire psyche. And I'm telling you right now, I'm not wishing it on her, but with her situation, if Zaddy kick her to the curb, she'll have a psychotic breakdown, man. And I don't say that with any joy. I'm just saying you listen to the way she was raised and how highly she holds white people up on a pedestal because of her situation. You tell me if you think that her sanity will remain intact if Zaddy said, I don't want nothing to do with you. Just something to think about. Let it continue.
have to learn Setswana, or I don't feel, maybe you feel pressure to learn Setswana because people are like, hello.
No, you know, when she was here in primary school, my parents was a lot of the times they were away on mission trips, and then it was just me and her mom at the house, and my other brothers were then studying other places. And so, I mean, I know it was Marie, when she made friends at the school, that's the friends she made with, and it was never a race issue. It's just friends, people she connected with. You know, it never became a race issue, and we never kept her from any other races or speaking to other races or making friends with them. It's just who she identified with, the friends she made, you know, the connections she made. And I don't think, I think where she is now, she's still got a wonderful life ahead of her. And she is now, because she's become a celebrity, she will now be mixing with people of her own color and in the places where she's joining. And that's going to be good for her. Yeah. I'm looking forward to see what's happening to her. I'm always keep my eye on her life. I know she's going to be a huge success.
I have to say, I really admire the love your family has for you, because like I'm getting goosebumps just thinking the biggest sense I get is that they just want you to.
I got to do this, family. I got to do. Y'all know I couldn't contain my petty for too long here. I got to get this off. She set herself up for it. You throw them out there. I got to get you, lady. If you got some goosebumps, those wouldn't be bumps. They'd be whole goose eggs. Your big old self sitting up here. See, listen, come on, man. She set herself up. I had to get that off, family. But listen, here's the deal. A lot of the tether class, this scenario that we're reviewing here tonight, they dream about having scenarios and situations like this. Look, I see y'all over there laughing. It is what it is, man. She set herself up. Look, I've held back most of the time a lot of stuff I want to say here, because see, if I was just going straight roast mode, y'all know what it would be. But I'm saying a lot of the tether class, this is their dream scenario. Oh, I wish I would have come up in a white family. And I mean, I'm telling you, over there, let me tell you something that goes on over there. Because see, I got to tell the truth, shame the devil, the tether class devil. And a lot of the schools over there on the continent, even to this day, they will pick on each other if they don't speak a certain language or a certain way, English a certain way, rather. They're actually ashamed of their mother tongues over there, many of them. You understand what I'm telling you? Okay? I'm not saying all, but y'all know that's a thing over there that you can't say I'm lying about that. They pick on each other. Oh, you don't speak English this way, that way. I'm telling you. See, this right here, this is bringing something to y'all that a lot of y'all probably would have never really thought was possible or didn't even understand that this took place over there. I'm showing you how this can be weaponized against us. Again, regardless of whether it was her decision or not, and it wasn't because she was a child. The damage done to a person as far as who they identify with and them having self-esteem or pride in their own people's heritage, that can be weaponized against us if they send these types of people over here. Let's let it continue.
Happy, and they just love you as you are. Is that a sense that you've always felt with your family?
Always. I mean, I do remember like what Kobus said, like when we used to live together, he was like my big brother. He always used to tell me what to do and what not to do and always help me. And even in school, I can remember my parents were like, they were never like too hard on me or like you have to get A's and you have to do all the sports. They were never like that. Whatever makes you happy, just be yourself and just be happy.
Can I ask a hard question?
Yes.
And you have to be fair, Kobus. Do you think that your parents, your same parents, were actually kinder to her because you were the younger one or because you're the one who came in from a very difficult situation? Do you think they were easier and kinder on you than they were if you were a biological child?
Let me ask you that. My dad always wanted a girl, and he never got a girl. We were 5 brothers, and he suddenly... So she was very spoiled. I mean, she got things. We were the 5 of us who had one car that we shared. She had her own car. She had her own motorbike. She was spoiled.
And now the
I got to do this too. I got to get this one off, and I promise y'all I'm going to leave it alone with the petty. I had to pause it on the screen right quick. Now, family, notice how she's cheesing to the point that every time they say so, boy, she look just like a little old piranha, man, with some braids in her head, don't she? I'm telling you, man, them teeth, boy, little gerbil mouth here. I had to do it. She did it too many times. I be trying to ignore this stuff, man. Look, I'm gonna leave it alone as that. I promise that's the last joke. I'm gonna leave it alone. But I'm just saying, man, she's smiling like she's about to cut her own head off every time he say something. Man, listen, I'll tell you what I would love to find. I would love to find people that grew up with her and get their side of the story. That's where you're gonna get the truth at. Oh, she ain't gonna tell you the truth, because boy, this is a tell this dream come true. I'm being taken into a white family, no matter what abuse they heap on them, they're not gonna tell you about that. I would love to talk to the people that grew up with her though. But anyway, we're gonna get back to it. Let's let it continue.
The viewers at home don't know that before, we started shooting, all of us, myself and the crew, we were listening that you guys actually just speak Afrikaans. You're literally only speaking English for us.
Yes.
So if my Afrikaans kan bietjie beter wees dan ons ons kan in Afrikaans praat. Yeah, my Afrikaans ended in standard 5, and that's where it ended. But you actually speak comfortably all the time in Afrikaans.
Afrikaans is my first language.
Yeah, it's just the way she was part of our family. It's just, when you interact with family, you just talk and you love each other most for who you are. That's just how it is.
I just want to answer the question that you asked about did my dad or my parents favor me more.
Yes.
I don't think it was more of like favoring more. I think it was more like protecting me from the outside world. So rather stay here and get everything here than go outside, because if you go outside, people might be rude to you and we don't know how to deal with that or understand it.
So it's almost like your upbringing was sheltered.
Yeah.
While the intentions were right, you might not have actually been properly prepared for the real world.
Yes.
Which is now dealing with people going, huh?
Yes.
Not understanding the bubble that you came from. Okay, I think I get what you guys are saying. Before I let you go, Buddha, I would like to find out, how do you feel about, I know she's got a man because I see her on Facebook and tra-la-la, la-ti-da. How do you feel about the fact that she's got love in her life and it might not look like a picture you might have imagined for her? Or maybe this for you was the most natural thing?
Well, she waited a long time, and she dated other guys, but she never got really serious about anybody. And in her 30s, she met George. And I'm happy. I actually said it's time for them to get married, I'm years ago.
So much
I said
pressure.
that guy should start paying. He should pay Labola.
Oh
and
my
I want
God.
a piece of it.
What do you know about Lobola?
Are you guys going to accept Lobola? Actually, now that I think about it, if she...
For those that don't know what Lobola is, that's a bride price over there in some African nations, okay? If it's in the traditional sense, it will be livestock or cattle that will be brought to the family of the daughter that the groom is going to marry. And in some cases, it's money, okay? That's decided upon. For those that don't know that term, it's called Lobola over there. So just wanted to clarify that. I know a lot of people are not familiar with that term. I speak several African languages. So this is why a lot of times I tell the class, they try to get smart with me on these other plans. Like, hey, you do know I understand what you're saying, right? Okay. But anyway, just wanted to point that out for the audience that didn't understand it. Let's let it continue.
Does get married, are you sending cows are you?
No.
So you don't, if your family, would you include your biological family in the proceedings?
Only my gran.
So if your gran says we need to do things the proper and acknowledged culture, are you going to say no?
Yes.
Is it because you don't agree in the practice of Lobola, or because you're not trying to practice a culture you weren't raised in?
Both. It's not my culture, and really, cows and me, no.
Cows represent wealth. They represent so many things. And it doesn't have to be cows. It can be gold bars. It can be money.
Yeah, but then I don't believe...
That's what I also said,
You just want the money. don't believe like in buying your wife.
Okay. No, I get you guys. I feel like we could talk for years. Buddha, I'm gonna let you.
Now let me pause it right there because I'm glad she said something because see, like I said, I got to tell the truth about their issues. And many of those African nations that practice Lobola, here's one reason why a lot of their women stay choosing on foundational Black American men. Got to tell the truth about that. When the groom or the husband to be rather pays that Lobola price, whatever it is, scrapes it up and pays the price, they actually do think they own those women, like literally own them. Okay. So what she's saying is not far off, and this is why they go upside their heads the way they do. Oh, yes, the domestic violence over there, man, listen, y'all don't understand. That's why when I hear a lot of these chicks talk about they finna run over there and get them an African dude, I'm like, you really don't understand what you about to do. I'm not going to say all my African brothers and sisters do it, but y'all know that's a thing over there. It ain't nothing for them to smack up a chick over there. Oh, that's normal. I mean, hey, that's what you're supposed to do. And then let me tell you something else in case you don't understand what type of situation you will be in if you get one on it like the drop kick you and have a WWE match with you. If you thinking that you gonna run and go back to your family or whatever, they gonna be like, hey, he bought you. Go on back over there and work that out. But he hit me upside my head. Yeah, well, he gonna hit you a couple more times because you ain't gonna be able to stay over here. Go on back over there. You think I'm lying? Why you think so many of them fleeing? See, y'all, listen, for the sisters in here, when they get to talking that crap, they really not going into the detail about why they fleeing and never coming back. They know how a lot of them men in this society treat them. Boy, I'm telling you, I need to do a whole broadcast on the reasons that the tilted class flees because, see, that'll be the one right there, boy. They'll hate me, boy. You thought our brother Tariq had a man with that cheetah pea comment. If I go into the actual reasons why a lot of them, the men and the women fleeing, don't come back, boy, listen. That'll be a broadcast for another time. Let's let them get back to it. I mean, like I said, I'm glad that the interviewer went into all the different areas of conversation that she did when talking to her family over here. They're not done yet. Let's get back to it.
Go, but thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything you want to share with
I love you. Yes, one thing I want to say. I'm very proud of her. And I know she's going to be hugely successful. I always told that from the beginning. Everything that she did well at. With no pressure put on her. I mean, when she did sport, she became the top of the sport she could do. When she studied the sport science, she did very well at it. And and everything Marie does, she just puts 100% in it. And that comes from her family side. I wish she can get to know her grandfather and her grandmother. I mean, even though they never had the opportunities that she had, they always, when they were working on the farm, they were that kind of people. They put 100% in everything they do. And that's where she gets it from. See, from us, she just got the opportunities. But who she is comes from her genes.
Thank you so much for talking to us. I really appreciate your openness and honesty, of course, to come to the conversation. And I mean, I wish you the best of luck. And of course, I'm feeling the love that your brother has for you. I really am. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thanks.
All right. So before, we get to chatting about some of the things that brother said, let's get some words from Dad. Bar, thank you so much for waiting so patiently.
It is my pleasure.
So,
it's my pleasure, and
we spoke to Kobus, and he had some loving words for his sister. And I'm just wondering, I mean, is there anything about your experience that you'd love to share with viewers, especially viewers that may have been in the same position where they've adopted a child of a different culture, because there's lessons you've learned that you know now that you could advise them on?
I've been thinking about this very much, and I just want to, what Kobus said, and about Marie and about a grandmother. The 5 boys and Oma Maria. You know what? Oma Maria brought up my 5 boys. She brought them up. She was there. She was the one that played with them. She was there because my wife was a teacher at school. I was farming and the boys were there. I think why this whole thing mixed up so well is because Maria was taken into the family. She was part of a family. She was not a child working for us. She was part of the family because we make people part of the family, because we are all God's people and we are to respect and to love all people. That is what, because I'm being a Christian, I'm talking out of a Christian heart. This is what the word tells me. The word says, respect all people. You have to respect all people. This is what the word says to me. And you have to love all people, love all mankind. And I think this is what makes it a very, very, very big difference. We didn't.
See, this is what gets me. And for those that don't know, he's deceased. This is her adopted father here. But see, this is what gets me. Because it's the same no matter where you go with the white supremacists. When they start evoking that religion, especially Christianity, start talking about what's in the word as far as loving all people. Well, I would have loved to ask them the question like, oh, it's good you believe that. So what do you think about the state of apartheid in South Africa when you adopted this little black child? I mean, notice during the entire interview, they're not talking about anything that was going on over there in the country at that time, nor in the present when this happened, because they did this interview right around the time that we were coming out of the pandemic or what have you. Notice that none of that comes up about the condition of other black people, anything, since you love everybody so much, because surely you see the huge disparity in the wealth gap over there. Let me tell you something, man. When you go to South Africa, you got decent parts of it, but literally right across the street, you got shanty towns for far as the eye can see. Is every place over there like that? No, it is not. But there's a good majority. And look, the economy over there really is divided in between three main groups. You got the white boys in control of most of the businesses and the jobs. You got the Indians, the East Indians, okay. They run things. And now, recently, the Chinese are coming in. They're like, listen, we finna reshuffle all of this. Oh, that's going to be an interesting dynamic. Let me tell you something, man. The young people over on the continent of Africa have an uphill battle ahead of them. My heart goes out to those of them that are not of the tether class, because believe it or not, a lot of those young people are not with the way their puppet leaders sell them out. Unless we start to see what the president of Burkina Faso, the young brother Ibrahim Traoré, is doing. He formed an alliance with Mali and Niger over there. Unless we start to see changes like that, where you get a young black person who's on code with his people and cares about his people and doing the right thing, say, listen, we kicking the colonizers out and we're going to build this thing up ourselves and keep it secure for ourselves. The youth over there, man, they basically just sold them out, man. They really don't care. So on the one hand, I do understand why they flee. What I do have an issue with it, though, if you're in that situation and you come over here to my homeland, my nation, don't disrespect us, okay? Do not disrespect us. You know what you came from. You couldn't get it popping over there. If you come over here, be humble, be respectful. And I would respect this. I say this all the time. You come over here, I would be cool with you saying, hey, man, listen, I just got my citizenship. I ain't trying to kick up no dust, but I want what's best for the people that are native to this land, foundational Black Americans, and not be a hindrance. I would accept that. If you're not going to help, don't hinder. When you start hindering, that's when you become our people's problem. Let it continue.
We didn't take Marie in to be somebody in high places. We just normal people. We also.
Oh, I'm so glad my lieutenant pointed that out in the chat. My lieutenant Chan over there. Oh my God, she's right about that. A lot of those African leaders, they can't wait to get them a French wife or a white wife of any kind. Oh boy, they have made it then. Let me tell you something. In any African nation, if you look and see the president and look at that wife, those are the countries that are doing the worst. I'm so glad you brought that up, sister, because see, to those men that accomplish that, they get, a Becky or whatever you want to call it, a little alabastrous, whatever you want to call it, from any country. It's over with. The rest of y'all can forget that. Okay. See, that's what I love about the brother Ibrahim Traoré. I don't know if he's married or not. You know what I'm saying? But he seems to be the type of brother like, no, I'm not finna go for that because, hey, in fact, the business, yeah, he's not married. Okay, and I hope he's smart and doesn't follow the trend of getting him a white wife, because that'll be a way for them, the French, to get back in there, because he kicked them out of the country. Okay, and I want that brother to be successful in his endeavors, and I hope that alliance that he's forming over there grows. Okay, because that's what's needed nationwide, across the continent, from nation to nation. But I'm so glad you pointed that out, sister. Like I said, look up the presidents of those countries over there and look at their spouses. If it's white, man, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Let's let it continue.
Nie ryk Afrikaans mense, and we are not even middle class.
Is ryk rich, right? So julle is nie ryk Afrikaanse mense, julle
we're not rich people. We don't of these people that said, oh, you know what, we adopted a little child and look what we did. We did this out of the love for God and out of being obedient and taking this girl into our hearts, taking her and doing what God expected of us to do. And I think this is what brought the whole thing together. Whether it's black or white or what it is, it never made a difference. I never spoiled her. Kobus said I spoiled her. The people were talking to me and they say, but you can't do that, Marie. She's, you know what? I'm not gonna be different with her than I've been with the boys. We never went to the school and said to the teachers, oh, our little girl, this and that. She had to fight her fight. She, as small as she is there, she's a piece of dynamite. And she fought her fights.
In essence, if I understand what you're saying, you are saying that for anybody who wants to go into feels that they have a calling to adopt a child who happens to be of a different culture, it's raise your kids the same, love them as you would your own, and
Exactly.
you are coming from a Christian perspective of to say respect everybody. And for me, I always say you don't want a destitute child, because while there isn't a black family to take you, it's like you want a child to have a home. Doesn't matter what it looks like. If I understand correctly, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's. I've always wanted me and Marie to get to sit down, and I want her to write a book. I want her to write a book, how to adopt somebody of a different race. She's got so much knowledge to do that. She has it within her to help other people, not me. She is the one that's experiencing being adopted into a different race.
And I actually think the why that's the biggest reason that I wanted us to have this conversation.
Let me pause there and address what her father just said here and see, this is really going to piss the tilters off. But see, I'm not someone that has a worship complex for whiteness. The average person would say, well, why you have an issue with that? They adopted her and took her in. Okay. I'm going to point out why I have an issue with it. If the men of another group have to take in your children and raise them, that communicates a failure on the community of men that child came from. I'm addressing the men because, as I've said many times, we are the primary builders and protectors of a society. What is it about your community of men that's not securing things where no one outside of that village, that it takes to raise a child has to adopt your children? What happens when it comes time to pass down generational wealth or keep your society going? Okay? See, these are the things that the average teller wouldn't think about. But I do. Oh, I do. Just wanted to point that part out. So continue.
Is because it's so awkward to have the conversation that I wanted it to be open, and hopefully that somebody can learn from the experience. And of course, having your family here means the world as well, to get their perspective. Bye, Donkey. Thank you so much for chatting to us. And
thank you.
Thank you. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Lina ki aleboha. Lina ki aleboha.
Raleboha.
Sala sentle.
So Dad has challenged you to write a book. What do you say?
I say it's a great idea. I must just get in the mindset of, okay, it's okay to be adopted and people knowing that you're adopted. Because obviously I would love to help other people not go through the hardship I went through and to make it easier for other people.
What is your current relationship like with your biological parents?
None.
As in, they are around still, but you don't interact. You don't play an active role in their lives, and vice versa.
The problem became when I was just started in the entertainment industry. I got calls and messages from my real parents saying, but you need to come back now. Started seeing me on TV, and you know, people in TV are very rich. They've got so much money. So now I have to give money to them. And that just made me angry. You couldn't raise me or didn't want to raise me when I was a baby and vulnerable. And now that I'm in a position where I did well for myself, now you want me. And now
I got to pause it right here and listen. Anybody can understand where she's coming from regarding that aspect. I got to give it to her on that one. I can't fault her for feeling that way. You let me go to my grandmother as a child. Now, all of a sudden, I'm adopted by this white family. I become a success. And now, all of a sudden, here you come running. See, to those of you in the tether class over there, you're always talking about baby mama this, baby mama that when it comes to Foundation of Black American Freedmen. A lot of your children have this same story. They weren't adopted by white families, but they have the same story about, okay, you didn't do nothing for them when they were children, gave some of them up, let predators prey on them over there. Don't get me started about the Gambia. Oh, man, listen, boy, that right there is heartbreaking, man. But then all of a sudden the person becomes a success. Now you want something to do with it. So in a way, you see how they aided in fueling this confusion that she has, okay? Because she's like, nah, you know, and look, who could blame them? Nobody. I think that's the one thing that everybody in the chat room probably agree on. Like, nah, you're not finna use me like that and you didn't want nothing to do with me when I was a kid. So, you know, hey, listen, I got to say, I understand as far as that concerned. And look at all the things that she's been exposed to now, because listen, let me tell you something, dude. She didn't have no control over that, but if she was to try to come back amongst black people, I just got to call for what it is. No black man could build nothing with her, man. You can't. Her mind is so far gone from anything that you would want to raise a family with. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm pretty sure that everybody else would probably agree with me on that. But, you know, I just had to point that part out. I mean, hey, I can't blame her for that. You know, you didn't want to do anything for her, and then it led to her being adopted by them white folks. All her identity as far as to who her people are, that's gone. That's over. Let it continue.
I need to come back, and now I need to pay for stuff. So I just decided, you know what, I'm not about that life.
It makes me so sad to hear that. And I'll tell you why. I've had issues with my parents, obviously for completely different reasons to what you do with yours. But I value them playing an active role in my life beyond just being the biology, you know. So the thing that makes me sad, and I hear where you're coming from, is that while you have your dad and your brothers, that I feel like, is there something that you are missing out on by not having your biological parents actively in your life? Or do you feel like, no, forget the biology, they actually are toxic and I don't need them in my life?
But who decides what is perfect, and who decides what you need, and who decides, oh, you actually need this and you're missing out on this? Who says I missed out?
Yeah.
Maybe I had the best life I could have had.
So not even.
I got a positive acknowledge coming in the chat room too. Brother Nightfall Drought, it's not just the women. If we're going to look at it from the standpoint of what you just expressed in the chat room, it's not good for either side to do it. You're in the same boat. Either way, okay? Because what you're saying would be true, but it's no difference from the men, okay? So it's not like that, oh, it's just the women. No. You know we don't do that over here. It would be the same thing if the men did it too, if we're just going by okay, having two black parents. And look, let me address this, because I don't know if it's you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you believe this, but the people with the seed of your father. Listen, scientifically, you get half your DNA from one parent, half from the other. So if it's not just the women that will create biracial children, it will be the men as well. I just want to make that clear, okay? That's science. Anybody can argue with science. Go ahead and argue with that, but that's just the truth of the matter. I just want to make sure I point it out. So let it continue.
Missed out per se. For me, it's more about you sharing that right now you don't have an active role with your parents as an adult. What's happened in the past, that can't change. And obviously, like you say, only you will know what is right for you. I think my perspective, because of my relationship with my parents, I can only speak from, wow, I feel that rich connection. Do you ever feel like there is something missing, or do you feel like there's really nothing missing, they're not adding value?
There's really nothing missing, because I did have a mom and a dad. I also had like two people who brought me into this life, but that was their role. That was their role, and that was enough. And then I got actual parents.
Do you have any siblings, biological siblings?
I do. I have a younger brother. Same mum, same dad.
And what is your relationship with him?
Also, same. I can't even remember the last time I spoke to him. I think he lives with my real mom. And my dad apparently has another daughter with someone else. I don't know. I just distance myself. Like, you have your life. I have my life, and it started when I was 2 years old.
And Gran, what's relationship with Gran Maria?
Gran, good relationship with her. I speak to her almost like every third day or once a week at least. She is still in my life, and she doesn't work anymore. Obviously, she's a bit older, and I take care of her. Whatever she needs, I pay for. Yeah.
What does she feel about your relationship with your parents?
She would like me to go visit them, only for the fact that they are harassing her for many years. And they feel like, and only recently, that she stole me, which is not true. And that's why she wants me to go back and explain. But I don't feel like I don't feel I'm there yet where I can go confront them or like speak to them, because I might just say hurtful things.
So let's say hypothetically,
Yes.
mom and dad are watching.
Yes.
What would you say to them? And you can say it here, or you can say it to me. What would you say to them?
Thanks for bringing me into this life, and I really hope things are well with you. Please stop harassing me and my gran. I'm not going to give you money. And I really appreciate for what you did that one day. And that's it.
We skipped over the part of the relationship. Tell me a little bit about, without delving into the intimate parts, but you already mentioned you're comfortable, you, in a way, you don't see it as an interracial. You're like, we're same WhatsApp group. Is that still how you feel when you are in the outside world, outside of your bubble?
It's weird, because George, he doesn't see what I see. And maybe it's just in my head, but
you mean in the world,
in the
or
world.
in
So
the
now,
relationship?
No, in the world. So now we're outside, and I can see people going, or whispering, or saying stuff. And I don't know if it's just my insecurities that makes up these stories, or is it real? Like, they are talking about this interracial couple, because he doesn't see it. He doesn't see people behind our backs talking about, I'm already dating a black girl.
If you were saying insecurities, what would you say? Like, if you were to vocalize what those insecurities are, what would you name them? What would you call them?
I'm insecure about a lot of things. I'm an actor, so.
You okay, that too?
I'm insecure because I'm not white enough. I'm not black enough. And I don't fit anywhere. I'm super short. So there's a lot of little small things that just makes up this state of mind where I am at the moment.
What do you think would bring you to a point of comfortable, content resolution of, the subject that we're talking about? What is it for you that could happen that would make you say, whew?
Age.
I
think. I can remember when I was younger, this feeling was way worse. And it was way harder for me to make friends or excel in everything, because I've always felt like I had to be perfect, because I already have these, like, I'm black, I'm short, I'm different, I'm loud, I'm whatever. So I always tried to be perfect. And like the older I got, I realized, like, it's okay not to be perfect. It's okay to be black in a white family. It's okay to be this. It's okay. Obviously, you get those days where you're down and you go back in that little bubble that you are. But I think age, the older I get, the more I accept myself.
I hope that you do get to share your story in detail. I mean, I literally feel like we skimmed the surface of a richer story that maybe we really could all learn from without even having to be adopted or to adopt. And I hope that you can express it in a way that can be healing to you. Like there's some things that I got goosebumps so many times talking to you, like, with your family, with you. And there's some things that I can't help but feel like they need healing. And I can't even say to what that is, but I feel there's some things that require healing, and I hope that you get that. What would you like to say to everybody watching at home about anything that you would like them to know?
Just be yourself. And while you do that, accept other people for who they are and what they are. And it doesn't matter how they look like or how they feel like to themselves. Just love each other.
Let's leave it there. Just love each other. Marie Molefe van Heerden, thank you so much for joining us. I think this was such an insightful chat, and I came in thinking I know some stuff, and I'm like, wow, I don't know that much after all, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
And it's just a pleasure, and I hope I could help someone out there.
There you have it. I'm sure you've got a lot more.
Family, I brought this to you tonight and presented it over here the way that I did, because I want you to see just how much damage is done in a situation like what you just reviewed here tonight, and how it could affect us also if these types of individuals with her experience come over here amongst us. I'll tell you this as we get ready to wrap up here tonight. Now you can look back and think about some of the most problematic tethers that we've had to deal with over here. And maybe this was their situation, because it is not uncommon in other African nations, except for Ethiopia, that stopped them from adopting their children, that they will give their children over to white families for a better life. Now, you think about some of these tethers that we've dealt with in the past, and you got to ask yourself, is this the type of family that you come from? Think about it. If you think I'm reaching with this as we close it, this type of scenario right here. So with that said, family, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the broadcast here tonight. Thank you to everyone that participated. Thank you to everybody that contributed to the broadcast. And review this. Sit down and think about this, because, see, this is another dynamic that many of us have not thought about. And as far as those of us who are foundational Black American freedmen, remember, the mind, take care of the mind. Take care of what goes in your child's mind, because you do not want to have a situation where those of us who are Black people, families with two Black parents, let your child grow up to have this level of confusion. It would be twice as bad if that happened. So with that said, salute to everybody. Black first. Take care of yourselves. Be safe out here during this holiday season with all these drunk drivers trying to crash out. And I will see you all in future content.
It's the 50th anniversary of hip-hop, and we still have a lot of discrepancies as far as the origins of hip-hop, a lot of claims, who did what, who was the first this, who was the this and that, and such. But at the end of the day, we need a definitive story, all right? And that story can only be told by the founders of this culture.
Like, everything was being driven and influenced by young Black American culture, like the slang, the style of dress, the initial music that we chose.
Look at all the boroughs. You got, money making Manhattan and money earning Mount Vernon and Crooklyn. The Bronx was the boogie down Bronx. We was partying up there.
I am Coke LaRock, the first MC of hip hop. First cat to pick the mic up.
I introduced rapping to the turntable because when I came with it, nobody in the world was doing it. I'm right after Rudy Ray Moore.
They want to come in the mix. They want to say, we started. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. What came to be known as hip hop was solely an African-American creation.
What would you get out of some Jamaican toast? What is that? I've never heard of a rapper use a Jamaican toast or a Jamaican flu as a rhyme. I never heard of it, and I don't know where that myth came from.
My name is legendary King Trixie from the Bronx, BX from the West Side. I am the first breakdancer.
That narrative that hip-hop has had 3 founding fathers, that's been rolling for the last almost 30 years, which isn't true. You don't have just 3 people who created hip-hop. Hip-hop was created by a number of different people.
I am the grandfather, the godfather of the graffiti culture. I am the first element of hip-hop.
The roots of hip-hop being Jamaican, absolutely false.
My name is MC Sha-Rock. I am a founding member of the MC/rap culture.
Cassette tapes was the internet of our time. It just traveled around by hand.
I know for a fact that the B-boy stance started from the gods, the 5%ers that would be at the jams back in the days who were acting as security.
If they get the real truth of how it all was created, then so many lies would not be able to be in existence.
When we talk about hip hop and what it is, it's an extension of the music and the instrumentation that our forefathers created.
Check out the live stream premiere of the documentary short, It's Bigger Than Hip Hop, The Black American Family Tree, and Q&A, a fundraiser to create a series detailing music's evolution. Go to DewanB.com for streaming passes and crowdfunding.